Let's say we talk about frames. Now, frames basically in a 101 kind of way, we've been working with web pages that fill the entire browser window. I mean, up to this chapter, we make a web page. Whatever the browser's got, it's got our web page, nothing else. Frames are used to define an area of a browser window, and they're called actually the receiving documents, kind of like the framework for everything, is called a frame set. And a frame set basically splits the browser into two or more windows. And those windows actually load web pages. So if you had a 25-page website, you'd have one frame set, and that would be the document that loads our web pages, and you'd have 25 separate web pages that go into that frame set. That's how this works. Visually, it might look something like this. We have a frame called navigation, and you name these, you give them explicit names. Content is another frame. So the frame set is the back. You got navigation and content, separate HTML documents. One's nothing but navigation and one's your content. When you click in navigation to load another page, the navigation area won't change. The content area will. It will load another web page. There are reasons why you might want to use these, and honestly, there are a lot of reasons why you might want to move away from them. Let's start with the good news. The good news is static pages like navigational bars only have to load once, so your bandwidth restraints are actually reduced because a lot of that stuff's always there and it never ever leaves. It also gives people sometimes a sense of confidence because they know they'll always have that bar, they'll always have their navigation, it's not going anywhere. Each frame, in a sense, if you want to do this, can have its own scroll bar, which is just one more way to make it nice for your visitor. And you can use what's called no frames option if you want to give your readers a choice between frames or no frames, or in some cases where people can't use them at all. That's the good news. The not so good news, see how I worded that? That's very positive. I didn't say the bad news, I said the not so good news. Some browsers actually don't really provide good support for frames, and so you're going to have some problems there. You can't bookmark frame pages. It doesn't work, so here's another problem for you. It's difficult to line up graphic elements between the frames, so that can be a problem, and it takes a lot of time to get it right. And search engine optimization, indexing, the search engines have trouble with frame pages. One more thing, visitors can actually load unframed pages. So when they're searching for your pages, if one of those web documents that's supposed to be in the frame set comes up in the search, they can actually click on it and load that page. Now, if that happens, they have no navigation or anything else to work with. There are ways to get around that. However, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, this is the way I look at it. If you use frames, then go for it. But I find a lot of evidence, if you weigh both sides, to begin moving away from frames into other areas. If you really look at it, if you want to really get into web design, there probably isn't anything that we can't do that frames do some other way. With that said, let's look at these and give them a fair shake.